Hello friends, my name is Stan and I'm with FamilyMagicVisuals.com. I wanted to address a question I get from my customers quite often, and that question is, why do not I shoot JPEG? Question gets asked in many different ways. People do not know what JPEG or RAW format is, but they ask, why can I not get the photos right now? Why do you need to take your time to edit them? I just want my photo the way it is right now, don't worry about it, so on and so forth. I shoot mostly portraits. I shoot families. I shoot kids quite a lot. And to me, to give someone a photo that I would not personally enjoy, viewing is like, I don't even know. I feel like I'm losing credibility if I'm giving something that I'm not proud of. So, with that said, let me just introduce you to the world of RAW, and I want to show, if you're my customer, you'll see what I mean, and if you're not my customer, you're just watching this video, you'll see the difference between JPEG and RAW and the things you can do with one versus the other. This photo was shot in North Carolina, town of Charlotte. We were visiting our extended family there, and my wife took our camera and just basically used it in auto format, and you can see ISO is 3200. It's ridiculously high. 38mm f8, 1/60th of a second. Now, if you're a photographer, you know what these values mean. If you're not, doesn't matter. We're not going to go into detail about these. Anyways, long story short, I just want you to concentrate on this value. ISO 3200 introduces a lot of noise in the image. I'll show you what I mean. If we zoom in a place like this, you can see there's quite a bit of grain. Let me just get rid of this. I don't want this. Jesus. There's quite a bit of grain everywhere in the picture. We're going to have to deal with that. We also have to deal with another issue, and for me it is an issue. There's nothing in the sky. I want the sky to pop, because this was actually a sunset. You would not believe, but it's true. I want the image to look right. So, and the reason why we have two images, one of them is JPEG. I set my camera to capture both RAW and JPEG, and what it did, it captured RAW, and then it used the internal processor to convert the image into JPEG in accordance to the specifications I chose. I think at the time it was maybe a landscape. I can't remember actually. Either way, this is a JPEG image that the camera burned for me, or if you will, created for me. And this is RAW. RAW looks a lot worse out of the box, as you can clearly see. This looks quite nice. Steel head looks like a steel head, and this looks just washed out. Let me just go very quickly through my workflow. I realize people value their time, and so am I, and I'll just go through my workflow. Not going to talk too much about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and but I'll promise you, I do promise you that I'm going to use the same settings on both of the images, and we'll find out if these same settings will matter for either JPEG or for a RAW file. So let's just get into it, and I'm already doing it anyways. So I want the image to pop, so I'm going to increase the clarity. I wanted the highlights to be all the way down because it's overexposed in the sky, so I want to see a bit of a sky. I still don't see anything. I want the shadows to be all the way up because I want to see some of this stuff here in the dark. I still don't see anything. I'm increasing whites because I want to see white areas more clearly, but I don't want to blow anything out. And it seems like I'm already blowing stuff out even on the -100 setting. So some of this white stuff you see, the dots, represent the information that's lost. And we don't want to have any of it actually. We want to have information everywhere. So I'm losing information left and right, but I said I'm going to have about the same settings everywhere, so I'm just going to do something that would be similar to what I'm going to do in the other file. I want this to be more saturated and nicer looking, so it is now a lot nicer. I want to get rid of some of that some of that noise that was introduced by a high ISO value. So let's zoom in somewhere where the window was and observe. So because it's a JPEG file, because it's a compressed file format, you can see there's a lot of, instead of getting rid of the noise, we are, I don't even know, it's like, it feels like this was all painted by a brush or something like that. Anyways, the artifacts cannot be removed entirely. Doesn't matter what you do with these sliders, but I'll leave it at 71. This is about at 11 here, and I'm not going to do anything else to the image actually. Well, I will do one thing. I will try to bring back the sky. So I'll take my paintbrush and paint over the sky. The reason it's pink, it's not because I like color pink, it's just the color of the mask. It's showing me the area that I'm painting over. So I'm going to try to bring back some of that sky and getting that exposure. So I see there's something here showing, but I'm losing exposure. Maybe I need to increase contrast, maybe I need to decrease highlights and shadows. I see something here, there's like a little cloud. Maybe I need to bring back saturation and sharpness. None of this seem to be doing anything for the image, but anyways, I see that maybe that's supposed to be orange, that should be reflecting here and here because it was actually a sunset. But I can already tell that image is so badly washed out. This area looks horrible. Sky looks, it's just not there. It's just a white speck. There's very little detail there. And the head, even though it looks all right on the first look, I can see that a lot of it is has lost information. Like these white areas are just basically have no color in them whatsoever. Anyway, so we've done that, and let's do the same, exactly the same settings with our raw file. I shouldn't have touched exposure, so I'm just going to do exactly the same thing. Bringing the clarity. The computer decides to not cooperate with me, but that's okay. It's gonna catch up eventually. Come on, you can do it. Oh, silly me, I'm in a mask. I need to be here. I was like, what happened? Anyways, I can't remember how contrasty I made the other image, but let's just do 50. Highlights, shadows, whites. Let's not lose any of the information actually in this image. I can lose some information in the black areas, I don't mind that. Clarity, vibrance, saturation, something like that. I can't quite recall, but very close anyways. And now let's go to detail, and I think it was like 11 or like 12, and then it was at like 70 for luminance, which removes the grain. There aren't as many artifacts left. Bring it up even more, and that little grain here will disappear if Lightroom catches up to me. Yes, here we go. So maybe that's a bit too much. It washes out the image a little bit, but you have to find a happy medium. Anyways, so none of that artifacty stuff on the raw file. And I mean, I've done that, and now let's try to bring back the sky. Actually, the same thing I did with the other image. Let me just reset that brush and paint over the sky. And the nice thing it does in raw image, it sort of knows where to paint. Knows, not like this knows, but it sort of realizes where I need to paint, and it only sort of highlights the areas that are like the sky and not the head. Anyways, I need to bring back the sky, so let's do that. Let's bring down the exposure of the sky, and you can already see there's nicely blue tint, and there's a little cloud, and this is the sunset I was talking about. Let's bring back the sharpness. Let's saturate the sky a bit more and bring back the clarity. There we go. I mean, this is a bit extreme, but I just wanted to make a point. I think it's working. I mean, making a point is working, so I'm done. I'm not going to waste more of your time, but I think for me making a point, this is a raw file that was from this became that, and this is our JPEG that from this became that. And from a distance, or when you're looking at this image, it's fairly small. You can see that it sort of looks like this file on the right, but not really, because this file on the right has not lost any information. Look here and down in this area. You can see that this is water dripping, and there's a reflection because of the flash and all of this. The head is 3D still for me when I'm looking at the photo, but this image to me looks very flat and very unflattering, actually. Anyways, you can judge for yourself, but long story short is, if you are a photographer or you thinking about getting a DSLR camera, start learning about RAW conversion. Use Lightroom or use Photoshop, and it's not that hard. It's actually fairly easy to get into it. I promise you, I've been there. Only 2 years ago is when I've switched to RAW, and I never really looked back, because it's just amazing the amount of flexibility you have. Even overexposed and underexposed images, you can still bring back a lot of that information and still make them workable if you need to. Not that you shouldn't be actually making sure during a photo shoot that you do your work properly. Your framing and your exposure should be bang on every time, and focus. But this is just an example, and thank you for watching. I just want to ask you one thing, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you let me know, either by comment or putting like. If you did not like this video, if you can tell me why, it would be awesome. If you don't have the time, just put a dislike. I really appreciate that, and it will either motivate me to do more of these videos for you, and actually if you do want to see something or technique, or just want me to go on with what I do and other images and techniques that I'm dealing with, I'll be happy to share that with you. And if you're not enjoying it, let me know. If you want the video to be shorter or longer, also let me know. I appreciate your time, guys. I wish you all the best, and thanks a lot.